Welcome to ISRA League's Grand Touring Championship, brought to you by Z1 Simwheel. This is race number 5, 60 minutes at Mid-Ohio. I'm Daniel Quaroni, and with me in the recording booth is Anthony Muniz and Jeremy Burris.
Hey, good to be here. Yep.
Let's quickly look at the point standings. Made a little switch around since we have 2 drop weeks. I've incorporated that into the standings. David Serwa now with 94 points. Mark Payne following behind at 21 below. And then everyone else, John Kuzlin in the 30s, Brian Carey in the 30s. And also in Corvette, same deal. We've got Timothy Stoll up there with 84 points. Jill's doing a magnificent job keeping up with him, though, 10 points down. Marty Jeffries just 18. Everyone else in the high 20s and low 30s. And in Ford GT, we've got James Cullen with 80 points, and Todd Carver just 6 behind, and Wyatt Foster 8 behind him. So a very close competition there. Mike Young is the next up in 4th with 20 points down, and from there the field sort of drops down as it goes. Well, so this is Mid-Ohio. This is the track map here we've got. It's a tough track. It's a very, very twisty track, and the LMPs gain a whole lot of advantage on there, but it means traffic is going to be an incredibly important factor.
Yeah, Dan, this is going to be probably the most challenging circuit that this league has been to so far. It's going to be a big balance between patience and knowing when to be aggressive, especially for the LMP drivers, because they make so much of their time through the back half of the course.
That's right. The back half, you can see from the S's all the way through to the carousel onto the start-finish. That is a place where the LMPs dominate, but at the same time, there's very little opportunity for them to get around the slower cars. So we'll have to see how that plays out. The field is rolling now. Let's go through the qualifying standings. We have, in LMP, Chris Dameron Jr. on pole with a 109.1, David Serwa second with a 109.5, and then Brian Carey with a 109.6, Jeremy Burris with a 109.6 as well, and Carlos Passos in the top 5 with a 109.7. Then going through the rest of the top 10, Daniel Quaroni, Mike Kelly, Ryan Corns, Mark Payne, and John Kuzland.
For the GT1 class, Timothy Stoll qualified on pole with a 118.3. Evgeny Garernin was just behind with a 118.9. Ryan Huff qualified in 3rd place with a 119.6. Clint Vigas was in 4th. Marty Jeffries qualified in 5th with a 119.8. Rounding out the top 10, we have Sean Cuthbertson. Don Norris in the LMP got tangled up with these Corvettes. Gilles Moret, Stephen Clark, and John Kelly will round out the GT1 class.
In GT2, we have Todd Carver on pole with a 121.6, James Cullen with a 121.8, just 2 tenths back. James Mine, Craig Hunter, Joe Jr. right out the top 5. Then Daniel Crawley, Andrew Goderson, Luke Poulin, Jason Gordon, Matthew Voigt, and Trevor Hill ran out the total field.
All right, well, we round around the twisty part, the back half of the track now, getting ready for the green flag. Any last thoughts before we go green?
Go ahead. No? Dan, I was just going to say that as we can see right here, this is a fairly crucial point. This is if LPs can get by on the inside of the slower classes right here, that'll give them the momentum going into the final turns 11, 12, and 13, which then helps them translate into top speed going down onto the faster part of the circuit.
Well, with 1 hour on the clock and the safety car just heading into the pits now, we are about to see the green flag. Cars rounding round and accelerating out, and we are green with no major changes up in the beginning. Clean through turn 1. Mike Kelly getting ahead of me right there through turn 1, though. Mark Payne looking for an opportunity on the inside before turn 2. Doesn't find it. And now Colin McLean on the outside of John Kuzland, also trying to find an opportunity. Not getting it there, but he's got more speed down the back stretch, the second stretch there. And let's see if he can make it stick. He's coming alongside. He's got the inside line. Under
Is it
braking?
going to be? Yep, not quite.
Nope.
I was going to say that's going to be a tough move because going into turn 5, that would give John the advantage back on the inside. So that is a tough place to pass. You have to be really quick going into turn 4. Looking now at Trevor Hill, who is in the Ford GT. I think it looks like he's rounding out towards the back of the field right now.
All right, and he's right behind Matthew Voigt, and he's looking for the inside as well, and he's going for it. Contact with Matthew Voigt, and they're both off the track. We lost telemetry on Trevor, but hopefully Matthew Voigt can recover and not hit the wall there. Let's all keep our fingers crossed. Back now with Carlos Passos and Brian Carey as they head down the front straight, rounding out lap 1 and into lap 2. Now through turn 1 and coming down, getting ready, braking into turn 2 in just a moment. Carlos a bit behind Brian down the straight there, but here he's making up good time on the third straight. And on
he's
board
using
now
the
with Carlos.
draft. Yep, heading down to turn 4. I'm not sure if he's going to be close enough to make a move, though.
He's looking for it, tries it under braking, contact, once again, second contact right in that same spot, and he keeps it off the wall. Looks like Brian Carey did as well, but the rest of the field you can see going by. Now on board with Todd Carver as he goes through turn 2, and he's got, who is that on the inside?
I believe that's James Cullen on the inside.
So side by side heading down the third straight. Doesn't look like James has been able to get ahead of him before the right-hander into the braking zone. It looks like he's still holding a wide line side by side there.
He'll have the inside advantage as they go into turn 5. I'm not sure if James was able to stick on the inside. It looks like he's still on side by side with Todd Carver. So this is a great battle as they head into the twisty part of the course.
And there we can see Todd gets ahead of James.
I say the top 6 GTs all running right together at the front of the field so far.
And I think that's going to be how this. I think that's how this race is going to be if they can. As we look now at Jerry Morsdorf, who I'm not sure if he was a little bit. I'm not sure if he's off pace a little bit. It looks like he's got the brake lights on. You can see that's Alexei Dronov driving by, and that is me also driving by. So I'm not sure why Jerry's off the pace right now.
Yeah, no signs of damage that I can see, so, well, maybe he just didn't feel confident or figured he'd let you guys fight it out there. And looking now back at James Cullen and Todd Carver as we go through turn 2. And nice and tidy for James onto the third straight, but he's got plenty of competition right behind him, so lots of pressure. On board now with Daniel Gralti, he's towards the back of that pack of, 6 cars, and he's running in 5th position right now, braking right behind Craig Hunter.
Over the top of Madness into turn 6.
And now we've got Mike Kelly, me, and Mark Payne all running down through turn 2 onto the third straight. And right now we've got Mike running in 4th, me 5th, and Mark 6th. Heading into braking.
Well, you guys very close right there. Look like Mike was a little bit slow going through turn 5. Caused you to have to back off a little bit and see if Mark can't challenge as you go around the Ford GT. I believe that is Jason Gordon. And it looks like Ryan Corns is a little bit loose going into turn 9.
Yep, and that was John Kuslin taking advantage of that. Oh, and I don't know what happened there in the back of the field with those LMPs, but someone looked like they got really loose on the straight for some reason.
Looked like Brent.
I believe you're right, Jeremy.
And that looked like side by side with Colin and Ryan going off course. And a couple, Colin and is that Jerry or no Jeremy? No, sorry.
That's Brent.
That's Brent.
Yeah,
okay,
Brent,
there we go. That's Brent. Brent getting by. Yep, traffic playing a part in that. He just didn't quite time that right. And we don't have telemetry on Tim McLeish, so there we go. Now on board with Tim, and he's right behind R.C. Rigdon, and they are competing at the back of the LMP field. Currently, Tim in 17th, going on the inside and trying to make the pass. Let's see if he's able to as we get back on board. Looks like he did it. All right.
Now we're taking a look at Marty Jeffries and Sean Cuthbertson. Sean being in that number 3 Corvette. This is a battle for 5th position in the GT1 class.
And here you can see the LMP of, is that...
I believe that's Don Norris. He got mixed up in qualifying in kind of mid-pack with the Corvettes.
And on board with Evgeny, he's currently running first in the Corvette GT1 class, heading down the 3rd straight. And
I believe he has Timothy to the inside there.
Yep, and there Timothy makes his pass on the inside. They're teammates there, so Evgeny probably didn't fight too hard for that one. I'm sure they'd both be happy running 1-2, and either way it works out, we'll be fine with them. And now got a whole bunch of GTs. We've got Daniel Peralti tucking in behind John Kuzland.
David Sarah.
I'm sorry, David Sarah. Yes, thank you. Much better spotting there. And looks like he's going to try to make a move. No, I thought he was going to make a move. I believe that's on Craig. The 85. Oh!
That's Joe Jr. just slotting in behind Daniel Gralty there for 6th place.
On board with Mike Kelly, who almost takes out Jeremy Boris. Wow, under braking, but keeps it together, and traffic almost caught him out there, but he does a good job of anticipating it. Jeremy caught behind traffic now, 3-4 GTs, and it's that battle with Daniel Gralty and Craig that we were just looking at. And now back with Brent and Colin, and they are, well, that 36, I believe that is.
Yep, that's John Kelly in the Corvette. They go around the outside.
Yeah, he let them go around, no problem. And now back with me and Mark, and, oh, well, we've caught up with Jeremy, so...
Yeah, those GTs were causing some concerns there.
Yep, and almost side by side there with me and Mike as I try to draft down behind him, and Mark right on my tail, getting past James Mines, and
so close. It looks like you might be able to make a move on the inside. Holly,
yep.
On the inside, didn't quite have it there. Probably a little bit cautious on braking, which is good, especially only 9 minutes into the race. Oh, that's Jeremy Burris.
Wreck, yep. And well, can you tell us what happened there?
It's just a single spin, a little anxious on the gas.
Gotcha.
No damage.
Yep, and back you go, but a couple spots down, now running in 8th from, I believe you were, 4th or 5th? And we've got the 41 car of Ryan Huff, and he keeps it together, but a scary moment for him there, and that's going to give an opportunity to these 2 Corvettes coming up behind him. But it looks like Don, oh, wow, going wide, but that was for the LMP there.
Looking back now at Jeremy Burris, who is trying to recover from that spin, going splitting that 4 GT, going to be on the outside going into turn 2 against
but
Brent
he's
Briles.
A little bit ahead though, and oh, no problem, Brent.
Yeah, it looks as though Brent gave it to me under braking there.
Yeah. Oh,
looks like he's trying to fight back, going down.
Fighting though, yeah.
The 3rd straight. On board now with Jeremy.
And Jeremy taking the outside line. Let's see. Brent definitely not ahead by the braking zone. Jeremy going for the wide line. Brent gets by on the inside. And Brent now into 7th. Though he had a little bit of trouble over the hill and had to recover a little bit, giving Jeremy an opportunity to catch up. And on board with Carlos, back in 16th now after that incident he had. And looks like, who is he? He's with R.C. Rigdon back there, coming through the same S's section, gets past R.C.
It looks as though Carlos is trying to recover from that early spin. Whoa!
Oh. Yep. That was a close call right there. And looking now, we got Don Norris ahead of Mike Kelly, myself, and Mark Payne. And Don letting us by on inside. He's a lap down now.
Looks like you guys were able to get a little bit more spread out now that you've made it through that tight top 5 or 6 battle with the 4 GTs, as Jeremy Burris now on the inside of Brent Briles going down the 3rd straight, heading into turn 4. You're definitely going to have the advantage under braking to see if you can't make the pass.
Brent braking really deep to hold me down.
Yep, but it looks like he was a little bit of a disadvantage there, so you were able to side by side, and you're going to have the inside here. And
that should be enough.
That's
there
going to
it
be the
is.
pass. Nice move there. Getting a little bit loose there for Brent over the hill. On board now with Lance Snyder, and he's got RC Rigdon behind him, and ahead of him is, I believe, Tim McLeish. And there RC gets by, but gets a little bit caught up with some Ford GT traffic.
Probably trying to be a little more cautious early in the race.
Most definitely. This is not a track that's very forgiving if you make a mistake. Now looking at Clint Vigas, who's currently in 7th, trying to chase down Gilles Moret in the Monster Corvette, running in 6th place.
And remember, Gilles is running 2nd in the point standings right now, so that's an important position there. He's right now running in 6th, so he's got a lot of work to do to make up some points in this race, keep his place there. And on board now with Tim McLeish as Lance got by him, obviously, while we weren't watching. And down the straight, looks like Lance must have some good speed on him.
And we're going to return now to you, Daniel. Looks like that's still Mike Kelly, and you're still battling with Mark Payne. That's for, looks like Mike is now in 2nd, so you've been elevated a little bit, probably due to incidents with other LMPs, as you're right on the back of Mike Kelly going into turn 1. This battle's still going on, drafting off the Corvette as much as you possibly can, then diving out to follow Mike down into turn 2.
Yeah, traffic was a major factor here, and there were some points where Mike was able to get by some Corvettes before some turns, and then I had to follow. That was the reason for that separation, but the separation gone now, and we have plenty of clear track, but unfortunately, although I'm inches behind him, it's not going to be enough as we head down and make the right-hander give him plenty of space. Mark Payne, though, didn't do quite as well in traffic there, and looks like he's about, a second or two behind. Yep. So now back with Gilles Moret and Clint Vigas heading down the 3rd straight. And there's Don Norris, who is a lap down, and despite the Corvette's speed, they weren't both able to get by, so Don splitting them there, and Clint looking for a way by. Back now with Carlos Passos, as it looks like he's right behind Ryan Corns now, and he was running, if you recall, 16th the last time we saw him, now in 12th, so he's made some good movement up the field since then.
Oh,
and almost
contact
there. I'm not sure if it was contact or just avoidance maneuver there, but it's like they were trying to go 3 wide and it didn't quite work.
Not quite enough space for her on that straight, I don't believe.
And Carlos being very aggressive, diving in the inside of the carousel there. I'm not sure if he was able to complete the pass on Ryan going into turn 13.
On board with Colin McLean, I was going to say he looked very wide, and there's only one reason for that, and that's that Jeremy Burris is right next to him. So Jeremy on the inside, though, heading down the straight,
and it looks like he'll make the pass on the straight.
That won't be any problem.
Yep. Great move there. Most likely got a much better exit than Colin did coming out of turn 2.
Oh, but Colin gets a much better right-hander there, but has to check up just a little bit to avoid hitting you in the back.
Yeah, I took a slightly different line through there than other LPs did.
And now back to Ryan Corns and Carlos Passos. They are still fighting it out here through the S's. And there's a Corvette there. Couldn't tell who it was, but potentially a factor there if they can't both get by. Looks like, was that Marty?
Wow, that was close.
Yeah, very close.
See, Mark Payne has fallen down into the... it gets a little bit squirrely as he dips a tire off. That allows Jeremy Burris to get on the inside of him and make the pass for 5th place. You can see, Jeremy, you've got some great pace here today. You've made up quite a few spots after having that off going in out of turn 5. So, and this is Ryan Corns in the wall.
So, yep, and it doesn't look like he's going to move. So that is the end of Ryan Corns' race, I would say.
Looks like it's in the outside of the carousel.
Yep. Well, I wonder what caused that. Yeah, he's definitely not moving. So, unfortunately, you can see he's trying to. He's just stuck. So, that's the end of that. Well, with 16 minutes down, let's quickly run through the order here. In LMPs, we have Chris Dameron Jr. running first. Mike Kelly, 20 seconds down from him in second. Daniel Quarterly third. John Kuzlin fourth. Jeremy Burris fifth.
In the GT1 class, Timothy Stoll is the class leader, but not too far behind is Evgeny Garbernin, only about 3.3 seconds behind. Ryan Huff follows him a good 22 seconds. And Marty Jeffries is in fourth, followed by Sean Cuthbertson, who rounds out the top five about 30 seconds off the lead.
In GT2, we have James Mine leading, Craig Hunter right behind him, Daniel Gralty in third, Joe Jr., and James Cullen.
And that looked like there was almost contact there between Daniel Gralty and Craig Hunter. And Craig got a little bit wide. It looked like he almost lost it, but kept it together there. Well done for that recovery. And looking now at the number 44 of Alexei Dronov. And he's running in 10th position now. He's behind both Jerry Morsdorf and it looks like also Anthony Muniz.
Yep.
Luke Poulin here in the 4GT. He's chased by Trevor Hill. That's... Oh, Luke.
Oh, got a little loose.
Yeah. Oh.
Because Alexi had to... And there's contact between him with Luke and... Oh, I missed who was the other 4GT.
That was Trevor, but, I wasn't even watching what happened there because there was the... who was it, Alexi or someone? One of the LMPs.
Yeah, Alexi was off, and he's off again right there, as you can see. Carlos Passos makes the pass on him. Looked like there was just a miscommunication. Luke was on the very outside of going into turn 6. I'm not sure if he turned into Trevor Hill, didn't know that he was there or not, but both cars off. I know Trevor hit the wall hard. I'm not sure if how much damage Luke received on his car.
Well, we're looking now at the first and second position GT1 cars of Timothy Stoll and Evgeny Garbernin. And they've got some LMP traffic weaving their way through, as well as Todd Carter there. Todd currently running, where is he? Oh, 7th. And now with Jeremy Burris and Mark Payne as they... Oh, Mark looks for an opportunity on the inside. Has to check up a little bit for Craig Hunter there in the 4GT, but that doesn't give Jeremy any way to get by, and so that's the pass for Mark for 5th position.
Yeah, that was just smart driving by Mark Payne, using the traffic against Jeremy there to kind of pinch him in between that 4GT, so there was nowhere for him to go. That allowed him to get by.
And Jeremy, you can see, stuck behind James Mines in the 4GT, and Colin gets the inside. He was farther back, was able to carry more speed through, and that's good for a pass for him. So Jeremy taking a little bit of a beating in traffic right now.
Yeah, some good traffic management by Mark and Colin to take advantage there.
Yeah, with these really short tracks, that's a big key to being able to pull up the from your starting position.
Chuck Chambliss going on the inside of turn 1, making the pass on Alexi, and trying to get past the traffic. He'll do it, I'm sure, but we'll have to see if Alexi's able to get by Timothy Stoll. On the outside, he's going for it. He's looking, but he's not going to have it, and that's actually going to cost him some time there on the straight. So in that case, would have been better to be more patient, slot in behind Timothy Stoll, and exit fast.
He's going to be even lucky to pass him going. He won't even pass him going into turn 4. So
now with Matthew Voigt, Craig Hunter, and let's see, is that Daniel Gralty? Yes.
Yep.
And they both get past Matthew, who must be a lap down if they're running in 3rd. Yep. So really, this is the battle between Craig Hunter and Daniel Gralty, and currently Craig in 2nd.
So Daniel's been able to move up from, I believe we saw him back in 6th when in part of that big GT pack that we saw running. So good work for Dan to be able to work his way up through traffic. Well, not traffic, but through the other competitors.
And Daniel kicking up some dust there as he exits the turn and heads into turn 2. And back now with Timothy Stoll and Evgeny, and they are both just really quick similarly paced drivers, and again, since they're teammates, I suspect that we'll see them ride around like this for the rest of the race unless Timothy makes a mistake. In the meantime, it looks like we had Chris Dameron Jr. in the gray LMP heading by, and we'll have to see. Well, now on board with Daniel Gralti, and that again is battle for second with Craig Hunter, though we've got Carlos Passos coming around and slowing both of them down a little bit, so probably no disadvantage to either of them. Daniel takes a nice tight line, nice apex, and tracks out nicely and wide, but it doesn't look like he's gained too much there.
Craig getting a little bit squirrely going into the carousel. I wonder if Dan will be able to capitalize on that. And looks like he's gaining a bit of distance on him.
Yeah, although going through that carousel, it looked like the back of Daniel Carr wanted to step out a little bit. He kept it in check, but definitely not great for speed. And unfortunately, losing telemetry with Daniel again. So we watch as the LMPs head by the start-finish. And still in the same spot there. Back with Lance Snyder and Tim McLeish. They are currently running 13th and 14th. And looks like they don't have much between them, except that they're coming up here on Timothy Stoll and Evgeny.
I think they're able to get by going into turn 2, although it looks like they'll get by Evgeny going out of the exit down on the back straight.
Yep, and the acceleration is going to get Tim just past Evgeny, I think, but Corvette being faster on the straight here.
Yeah, the Corvette really pulls on the top end on the LMP.
Yeah, that's really caused some issues, especially on the third straight, because the LMP, as we look now at the battle between Colin McLean and Mark Payne, this is for 5th place.
And we had Joe Jr. off in the Ford GT through the S's, and we'll head down, see if he's still there in just a moment. As Colin doesn't get quite as good an exit and has to hold it a little bit tighter there, probably a little bit slower over the hill. Looks like Joe was able to clear himself out there. And I think that was Evgeny who almost got sideways there with Tim just getting ahead of him. So they've ridden, as you can see, the back half of the track behind Tim. And, well, Timothy Stoll, that is, since we have Lance and Tim McLeish here, and they're going to be looking for that opportunity, but they're just riding his bumper and not able to get a fast exit that the LMP needs to get by. On board now with Colin McLean, and he's getting past Todd Carver and following Mark Payne through turn 1. And we've got...
I think that was R.C. Ridgen. Looks like he's missing a nose and looks like make collision with a wall somewhere.
Yeah, it's easy to spin it at turn 1 if you hit that curve, so it could have been what happened to him.
Mm-hmm. Most definitely. Hopefully he didn't involve any other cars in that incident. Oh, and we can see Mike Kelly is off, and he's missing a nose on the car. Yep. It looks like he's taken some serious damage.
Yeah, and I was right behind him. Unfortunately, that was he just lost control and headed right, and that was unfortunately the end of the race for him, I think.
Yeah, this one looks like he's got some suspension damage there. Back now with Evgeny, and he is battling with his teammate Timothy Stoll for first place still. They're quite close. We can see you going by the inside of Evgeny. Probably not going to be able to get by Timothy on turn 1, but definitely in turn 2. So these guys have they've lost ground, gained ground. As we can see, Tim McLeish still following Lance Snyder going into turn 2. They both get held up behind James Cullen, I believe that is, in the Ford GT.
Yep, but they're about to go a lap down since I must have gotten through the turn 2 just now. Well, they must be a lap down to Chris Dameron Jr., but about to go a lap down to me. And looks like
the back
Craig,
end.
Yep, went very wide. Daniel trying to make a move, but unfortunately has the outside on the right-hander, still able to make it stick a little bit, and he's done it.
That was a great move by
put
Daniel.
Into second. Yeah, that was great driving right there. And you can see Evgeny and Tim just so evenly matched.
It's very interesting to watch the whenever we come back to these guys, sometimes they'll be a little bit spread out due to traffic, and then they'll be right back neck and neck with each other. So you can see, it looks like Timothy Stoll got a little bit better run going out of turn 9 as we go back now to Tim McLeish, who is still fighting for 12th place with Lance Snyder.
And they're coming right up on that battle between Craig and Daniel, and Tim splitting the two, or rather Lance splitting the two, and Tim looking to go on the outside. But now on board with Mark Payne, and he is right behind John Kuzland. John Kuzland running 3rd now. So with Mike Kelly out, I guess that elevated me up to 2nd and John to 3rd. And Carlos is still back there, but he's making some progress, back in 9th, and looks like he has Jerry Morsdorf ahead of him. Jerry going very wide and picking up some dirt. I don't know if he had enough speed to get past. No, he didn't, so there's the pass for Carlos. And that's going to put him into 8th. And now with Brent Briles and Jeremy Burris, and looks like RC is still out on track.
He's driving without that nose. That must be pretty difficult. You really lose a lot of downforce on those front tires without that nose on the car.
And well, he'll definitely have a meatball flag to head into the pits. It's the type of damage they may be able to fix, but not sure why he's still out on track there. Back now with Mark Payne and John Kuzland. And you can see there, that was a great illustration of the speed difference between the LMP and the Corvette through the turns as Mark gets on the inside.
Wow.
Not inside enough, though, as John is able to, well, he's not able to do a whole lot there because he gets behind Craig Hunter, and he doesn't have the exit speed, and that's going to give Mark greater exit speed through the turn, onto the straight, side by side.
The advantage. Wow. Ooh,
not quite. No, it's not going to happen.
No.
No, I think with Daniel Gralti there, it just was too risky.
Yep. There wasn't quite enough room. This is a pretty narrow track, and so as we can see, Mark trying to go on the outside. John gets held up a little bit. Wow, there's almost contact.
I think there was contact.
Contact.
John's back wiggled a little bit there, so I think there's just a little bit of contact there. But good rubbing, nothing wrong with that.
Yep. Oh, that's Tim McLeish off the track at turn 9. So it looks like his battle with Lance Snyder has come to a close as Mark Payne and John Kuzlan trying to go on the outside of that Ford GT as they make their way through traffic.
Yeah, that was a move they could have made much earlier, and I think it would have turned out a little bit better for them. But maybe it was a planned move by John to keep Mark from getting quite as good an exit onto the straight. On board now with Alexei Dronov in 10th, and he's chasing Chuck Chambliss. And once again, we see traffic, huge factor. Chuck on the brakes, riding the brakes, just looking for a way to get past that Corvette. In the meantime, John and Mark have caught up with Colin McLean, and Colin
appears a bit off pace.
He had an incident earlier in the race. I believe he's pitted for repairs already.
Yeah, because he's running in 12th right now, so that puts him a lap down from them.
Okay.
And
Alexei Dronov now currently running in 9th, still trying to.
I think that Todd Carver in the Ford GT, that once again traffic playing a part in that. I think that Chuck didn't get quite as much exit speed. Oh,
wow!
But Alexei
running
very
wide.
He locked those brakes up, and I can't tell if there was traffic or contact rather being on board, but it looks like probably not. A very close call. Some good driving, heads-up driving from Chuck there to avoid that. Chuck taking a lot of curb, getting a little bit of a bounce. And Alexei over the hill, not getting the power down quite quickly enough. Bad entry into the right-hander. And now back with Jeremy Burris. And he is still behind Brent Briles. So this battle still raging on. 30 minutes down, 30 to go.
And with only 30 minutes to go, we should be seeing pit stops for the LMPs here pretty quick.
And we're looking on board back from the gearbox on board with Chuck Chambliss. And we've got Alexei Dronov. It's an interesting viewpoint. You see just exactly how it looks when someone's chasing you. And Jeremy still on the tails of Brent, but once again, traffic slowing Brent down. It looks like Jeremy may be able to make a move. Not going to happen, though. I thought we were going to get some more exit speed out of there, but I probably couldn't get the power down over the hill well enough to take advantage. Looks like Brent going a little bit wide through the carousel, but he appears to recover by the time he gets to the straight.
And say we do have some LMP starting their pit stops. Mark was just in the pits that time by.
Yeah, Mark took a little bit of damage with me. That was what put him a couple spots back. Tried to go. It was just another sort of busy traffic situation, and we tried to go 3 wide, and not a big contact, but it was enough to do some damage that slowed him down a little bit. So that's why I think as soon as his pit window opened, he took the opportunity and pitted. And Jeremy getting a nice closing there on Brent under braking.
Oh.
And, well, who was that?
I believe that was me. I was recovering from a spin in turn 5. Oh.
And, looked like you had some damage there.
Yeah, I did. It was actually, when I got to the end of the race, it was quite a bit more substantial than I thought it was.
And Jill's... Well, they're going to get around Jills on board with Jeremy as he ducks into the pits there. Probably said, well, pit window is open, and Jills is going to slow me down. So is that what was going through your mind? Why the early pitting here?
Pretty much that, and also if I can't pass Brent on track, pass him in the pits.
Yep, sounds like a plan. Did you take tires there?
I did take tires and fuel, yes. Since you lose basically no time to take the tires, I felt you might as well.
Yep, absolutely. And in fact, I went with a much later pit stop, and I was starting to feel my rears just losing a little bit of their grip, so I was happy to take the tires when I had the opportunity. And now Daniel Gralti with James Mines, and James Mines currently running first in the GT2. On board now with Daniel. And down the 3rd straight. Looks like there's no traffic currently, so nice open track for them. Daniel's taking a look, taking a peek, just probably trying to find his break point with his viewport filled with James. And both of them getting a little bit loose as it looks like, is that John Kuzland? Yep.
It is, yep. And make his way to pass these guys.
And that's, we've got a Corvette off and facing the wrong direction. I couldn't tell who that was, though. And looks like that splitting has cost Daniel a little bit of time. We'll see if John costs James some time going through the carousel. But in the meantime, back with Alexei Dronov and Jeremy Boris. And... let's see.
Jeremy, of course, already pitted that. Looks
Yep.
like Alexei's going to dive in right now. Yep, there he goes. So.
And let's see. So back with, well, now it looks like Timothy Stoll has split James and Daniel. So Daniel getting the advantage of drafting off the Corvette. It's not such a bad thing to have a Corvette ahead of you when you're the Ford GT. And it's not going to be enough, though. He looks like he got a bad exit out of turn 2 because he's not nearly as competitive down the straight. Although he makes it up in braking. Oh, he's got Jeremy coming off over onto his right. Going to have to hold tight. There he goes. Jeremy's fast. And Jeremy not going to be able to get past James on the inside. So once again, the split 1-2 pairing. And the noseless RC Rigdon coming up. So apparently, despite the fact that he's missing the front end of his car, still faster than a Ford GT. Well, we're on board with Todd Carver in 6th, and that's Andy Gooderson right ahead of us, Team Tortoise. It looks like, well, I thought there was a mess up there just ahead of them, but it looks like it's all right.
I believe it was just a vet taking a ride through the beach there.
Yeah, very easy place to go off right there. You have to make sure you get that corner just right. And we can see Chuck Chambliss now trying to work his way through these two Ford GTs. Definitely got held up behind, and was really, if you get behind, if you don't get past them by turn 6, you're waiting until turn 9 to make a pass. So really crucial to get by them as quick as possible. Now, Daniel Gralty still following James Mines in the Ford GT, still trying to battle his way to the front. Daniel made up quite a few positions so far. We remember seeing him around 6th place at the start of the race. As you can see, Carlos Passos making his way through these two guys. So, great job on Daniel's part to fight his way up into 2nd place.
Trying to close the gap through the carousel now. And back onto the start straight. He just can't seem to get the power down enough out of the corners to really get that great jump.
No, it looks like he's got it under braking. He's faster than James under braking and in the turns there, but James definitely getting better exits. As it looks like I'm going to get around them, so won't interrupt their battle any more than I have to.
See Brent Briles not too far behind. I'm not sure if that is for position or not.
That's no, I think it's Jerry Moore.
Oh yes, you're right. Yep, that is Jerry.
And no, I don't think that was not for position. Jerry currently running 8th. And that's Evgeny getting stuck behind the battle for 1st and 2nd in Ford GT. Now, so Evgeny's still running 2nd in GT1, but now 7 seconds down from Timothy Stoll. And I think an awful lot of that just has to do with traffic. Timothy was able to get by in some places that Evgeny wasn't, and it's held him up a little bit.
Yeah, it does add up if one guy gets by at the opportune time and you keep getting held up just a couple more corners. It does add up, and as we can see now, that's held Evgeny up to about 8 seconds or 7 seconds. So
and you can see he's poking his nose around, looking for that opportunity. Oh, Evgeny getting up on the curb, and that puts him far behind. Probably also hurt Daniel's speed going on to the first straightaway as well. You can see that there was a fairly large gap between the James Mines and Daniel Gralty. Yeah, I think that Daniel probably would have had to take some evasive action there.
Yeah.
And now we are with James Cullen, and James Cullen is still behind Andy Gooderson. He's got, let's see, the number 3 car. And that.
Sean Cuthbertson.
Okay, Sean Cuthbertson ahead of him.
Wow, the James cars here.
Yeah.
James actually making a move on Sean on the outside of turn 13. You can see you, Jeremy, sneaking by, and then Sean going by as well. That's great heads-up driving on all those guys to just know where everyone is and not make any contact with each other. Looks like
very wide though. Oh, and off the track.
Yeah, it looked like he just missed his braking point.
Yep, and under power there on the dirt, I almost thought he was going to spin, but he managed to keep it facing straight. Over the hill and down into the right-hander. And back with Daniel Gralty. He's caught up with James Mines, looking on the inside. Better under braking, but not good enough. He didn't have it, although James goes very wide through turn 2, and that's going to give Daniel Gralty first place at the moment.
I believe he showed him the nose just to try to psych him out on the braking there, and it looked like it worked.
Yeah, that's one of those few times. That trick doesn't seem to work all that often, but it does look like it helped him this time. Maybe sent James a little bit wide going through that corner, and obviously able to get by for first place.
Well, it's possible that James just knew that Daniel was better under braking there and was concerned that there might be some issues. And now back with James, but only for a moment as we head back on with Andy Gooderson. And James Cullen making a very similar move there through turn 2. And that's going to put James ahead in 6. Lance looking for an opportunity, not going to brave going 3 wide, although he's side by side with Andy, and he'll be splitting them. And I have pitted now with 19 minutes remaining, and pitting from second down. From second down into 4th as Mark Payne gets by right as he exits the pits. Getting split by Jills as we head through turn 2. Jills giving me plenty of room going wide. And let's see if I can get past Craig under braking. Yes, no problem.
Me too.
Mark probably held up a little bit by James Mines there. And I look for the inside to get past him, but Daniel Giralty is holding up Mark Payne, so no loss or gain between us. Actually, looks like really, quite a bit of loss. Since,
really held him up. You're right on his tail now.
That's right. And lost a little bit in the carousel, so a small gap opening up there. Brent Bryles now into the pits, and he pitted from 3rd, and that's putting him down to 4th. That can't be. He must have been 2nd when he pitted. Yep, so he exits in 4th amidst all that GT traffic that we just got through.
You can see not too far behind him is the battle with John Kuzlin and Jeremy Burris. So Brent could have some company for his 4th place in not too long. Going on board now with Jeremy. Yep. See, Don really holding John Kuzlin up. That allowed you to really close the gap. Now it's just a matter of negotiating past the Ford GT of Craig Hunter, the Corvette of Gilles Moret. We've definitely got a better run going out of turn 9.
Yep, but there's no room on the track to do anything, although you get past both of them, so that's a good move. Going on the inside of James Mines, that's an uncomfortable place for him, but it's the opening that he gave you. And now heading down onto the front straight with Jeremy Burris. And this could be a big opportunity. Daniel Giralty holding up John Kuzlin, although it looks like it put off Daniel a little bit, and he was very slow through there, so you still got caught up a little bit.
Yeah, I don't think he was expecting John to make that move right there. Kind of caught him off guard.
Corvette off on the left there. And back on board with me as I'm right behind Mark, and we're right behind Trevor. And both of us looking for some way to get by. Trevor running fairly far down and not giving a whole lot of room, but puts on the brakes for us there. Back with Jeremy Burris, and so we've got 2 great battles going on right here.
Much better going through turn 11 right on the back of John. There's going to be, that looks like the Corvette Timothy Stoll, or is that Jills? Okay.
Yeah. And so that's going to be a huge factor right here. It's going to slow John Kuzlin down. But you're right on his tail. Let's see if you're able to... You do. make the pass, it looks like, without too much trouble at all. Oh, no, you were right. That was Timothy Stoll. And right back with myself and Mark, looking on the inside. Got it on the inside, but not enough because I've got the outside there. Mark Payne pulls ahead.
You guys having a good fight here, but coming home more traffic.
And this is, 3 wide there with Mark Payne, Marty Jeffries, and Andy Gooderson.
And I'm just biting my nails there, getting held back so much. Can't quite get by, but he gets me by, fortunately, before the left-hander.
But as you can see, that's Sean Cuthbertson really holding him up, and you're right back on him now. So traffic playing, that's a good example right there of traffic playing both ways, and really, eventually, hopefully, it equals out for everyone.
And that is Alexei Dronov, who we are getting past on a lap.
It looked like he cleared the way to let the battle continue there.
Yep, most definitely. He has no immediate competition, so there's no reason to hold these two guys up. As you can see, there's quite a bit more traffic up here. That looks like Andy... Was that?
No,
that was
Matthew
Matthew Voigt going wide. Yep. I'm not sure if he went off. And then there's myself fighting my damage and a couple more GT cars up there as well. So definitely places to gain or lose time depending on where you catch up.
As we both get past you, no trouble, taking a nice wide line. Back on board, you can see, is that James Cullen?
Yep, that is the Ford GT of James Cullen. And it looks like, I believe that's RC Briggs. Oh, wow, an outside move going into the carousel. Wow, I don't think Mark was expecting that.
Yeah, he was just slotted in behind him and following him at his speed. I knew that we could take the outside without really interrupting the Ford GTs too much, so I went for it, and there it was. So pass for second there.
Mark looked like he's going to try and battle back going into turn 2.
Yep.
He'll have the inside.
He's got it, and almost contact there, but both of us just keeping off.
Drag race down the back straight now.
Mark
Who's had
with
more
the
braking?
inside, though.
If you can stay on the outside, no. I was going to say, if you could stay on the inside, you'd have the inside advantage going into turn 5, and that's really where you gain the most time. But unfortunately, that outside move in the carousel didn't last too long.
No, but still a great battle. It's a lot of fun, much more fun if you've got that kind of action going on. Just getting past Todd Carver and avoiding contact. Into the carousel here, and more traffic playing a part. So Mark Payne getting slowed down through the carousel. Yep. Very slowed down, actually, as he goes right on the bumper, probably being a bit defensive after I got past him in traffic before.
Yeah, unfortunately, you didn't catch him napping again in the carousel to be able to put another move on him. But he does get by going into turn 1, and there's a fair distance. As we now look at Jeremy Burris, who's still battling with Brent Briles for the 4th place. And there's going to be traffic, and that's going to play a part into their battle, as they're probably going to most likely catch them going down into turn 4. Oh, maybe not. They're a little bit closer than I thought.
And back on board with my car as we're behind Tim McLeish. We're going to be lapping him soon through the S's. Laying down the power, full throttle down through there. Whoa, and Tim totally losing it there, and that caught Mark a little bit out as he had to make fortunately Tim flew off track, but Mark making a small avoidance maneuver just in case, and that gives me the pass for second. And looking now at John Kelly, who is off track, and actually I think he has been for quite a while.
Yeah, I remember passing him sitting on the outside of corner 2 for quite a while. And this is Brent Briles, and he has some serious damage to his car.
Yeah, that's utter destruction.
Yeah, he lost it down through the Thunder Valley with me right behind him. It's a real shame.
Yeah, you guys have been battling for well, most of this race now, and it's a shame to see battles end like that. As we see Mark Payne now trying to chase down and repass Daniel Corroni as they head down into turn 5 and 6. No immediate traffic in front of them, so they'll be able to run flat out through this section.
And fairly evenly matched. I think Mark was a little bit faster. He did get by me in the pit stop, although I must say I was running by myself through the middle part of the race and wasn't pushing too hard, ran through a lot of traffic and was pretty patient with them, and I think probably those were the seconds that counted that let Mark get past me through the pits. Through turn 1, he's getting a nice drafting advantage. And just looking for that mistake. If I make it, on board now with Mark. And I went a little bit wide through turn 2. But looks like I got down the power all right. As Mark actually, despite the draft, just holding on. Now he's getting sucked in a little bit. Looks to the inside, not really seriously, just to try to psych me out, let me know he's there. And we're coming up on Craig Hunter and Don Norris.
Yep.
And Don Norris holding us
really
up
holding you
bit.
up there. Looks like you're going to go on the inside.
Well, I tried for it, but...
wow.
Yep. And that unfortunately was the end of my race.
Oh, and Alexi.
Yeah,
Alexi off too. Looks like some soft contact into the tire wall. Trying to find the proper gear to get going again. Wow.
Yeah.
So that elevates you, Jeremy, up to 3rd, and Mark Payne up to 2nd with, well, really, Chris Dameron up about 40 seconds from Mark Payne. So not really a battle there. But looks like Mark got really held up going into turn 1 behind Gilles Moret. Gilles not really sure where to go, and that easily gives you the pass on Mark Payne as he gets held up behind traffic.
Yeah, that was a good eye right there. Nice to see that. And as we watch down the 3rd straight, you head by with Mark Payne still behind you.
John Kelly's still not really sure why he didn't escape out. Definitely not at any advantage sitting on the track instead of just escaping out.
Yep. And Mark, a decent bit behind you. Let's see if, well, you're behind traffic, so probably he caught right up in that. No trouble whatsoever.
As I was saying earlier, the give and take, everybody was held up at some point.
Yep, well, we've seen it with the battle for 1st and 2nd in GT1 with Timothy Soul and Evgeny Garernin, and we've seen it with, well, before you had your incident, Dan, we saw it with you and Mark, and now we're seeing it here with you, Jeremy, and Mark Payne. So,
well, with 6 minutes left, let's quickly just run down the leaderboard brought to you by Z1 Sim Wheel. In LMP, Chris Dameron Jr., as you mentioned, leading by 44 seconds on Jeremy Boris, followed by Mark Payne, John Kuzin, and Carlos Pasos.
In GT1, Timothy Stoll is still the leader, followed by Evgeny Garernin. He's around 9 or 10 seconds behind. Gilles Moret is in 3rd place. Ryan Huff is in 4th, currently in the pits. I'm not sure if that is probably for his one and only stop. And then Clint Vigas rounds out top 5.
All right, and in GT2, well, actually, if there I go.
Oh no!
Into the wall.
Happened?
Wow.
The vet got a little loose over the hill there, and we had it coming together.
Wow. Another unfortunate end here to another great battle, and yep. Were you able to repair any of that? It looks like you've got some suspension damage. Probably not able to make repairs, were you?
Oh no, that car was done.
Yeah.
But onto the GT2, we have Daniel Gaultier leading, Craig Hunter about 8 seconds behind, James Mine is in 3rd, Joe Jr. in 4th, and Todd Carver running in 5th currently.
And Jeremy pulling in and being told that you're done. And that's that.
A rev of frustration from the engine.
Yeah, definitely. That's just multi-class racing. There was no intent there.
And
Yep,
catching
well,
up
we look
quickly
at,
Chris Dameron. He's running by himself now.
Yeah, running with a large 50-second lead all to himself. He can afford to be cautious.
Yep. Currently in a gray paint scheme that will be changing due to visibility concerns. And looking now still at John Kelly.
Oh, and this is Stephen Clark, who is off. I can't tell exactly which turn that is. Possibly turn 2? Ooh, and that was, I believe that was the class leader for GT1, Timothy Stoll, going wide as well.
Well, it's not clear what happened there. He doesn't look, well, he doesn't have any damage on the back end or on the right side, and he's not moving, so...
Steven is the one I had my contact with. I believe it did bend some suspension at the back of the car.
Well, now we are with Todd Carver and Joe Jr. Todd going almost side by side with Joe Jr. through the S's. Can't make the move there, but has a better exit over the hill. Just a car length or two behind. And looking for that mistake.
Say this is the battle for fourth with just 3 minutes remaining.
Yep, so...
This is an interesting battle because I'm pretty sure that neither of these guys have made pit stops. So they're trying to push the fuel as far as they can without having to take a pit stop. So it's trying to find that balance between pushing hard and not letting yourself get past and still trying to conserve as much fuel as you can.
You would certainly not want to run out of fuel this late in the race.
Yeah, and with all of the elevation changes in the back half of the course, if you run out back at that area, you're most likely not going to be able to coast to back to the pits.
No, definitely a lot of uphill.
You can see the GT1 class leader, Timothy Stoll, splitting these two guys. Looks like he caught Todd Carver out a bit. And,
Yep.
Joe Jr. is off pace. Oh, and there's contact between him and Todd.
Yep,
I believe
Todd.
Joe just ran out of fuel.
Yep, it looks like it because there's not significant damage on his car, and he is not moving at all. So that's just exactly what I was talking about, trying to find that balance. Obviously, Joe Jr. didn't quite have it.
And back with Daniel Gralti, and currently running third now. And that contact, let's see if it throws him off too much. Oh, I'm sorry, that wasn't contact with him, was it?
No, that was with Todd Carver for, I believe that was
sorry.
for fourth place. Or
Getting my wires crossed briefly as getting it back together. Now Daniel looks like he's about to get past James Mines in with a minute and a half left. Does it without any trouble whatsoever. Makes me wonder if James was trying to conserve fuel with the same strategy or what, because that just seemed odd.
Yeah, that seemed quite easy, even if Daniel was able to get a much better run coming out of turn 2. That James made that one look easy, so I think he's just trying to conserve what little bit of fuel he has left. And as we can see, yep, there's speaking of fuel, Joe Jr. has none.
Well, we're under a minute to go now. And most of the field, I think, is fairly decided. And we've got Alexi off, but returning to track. And Chris Dameron Jr. coming up behind him, getting around him safely. And James Mines into the pits. And that means that, yes, James Mines was trying to conserve fuel. He's gone and stopped for a splash and go. I expected him to leave much sooner. I wonder... That took quite a while.
I have to wonder if he was not expecting to come in and didn't get something unchecked there.
Well, I don't think he spent long enough for tires, but maybe he didn't have the right fuel loadout set and ended up taking too much. Well, we've got James Cullen now, who's in 4th, and Todd Carver up ahead there. And no time to go, so that was Chris Dameron Jr. who just went by, and that will be his white flag lap. So everyone heading around for the last lap. And we'll be taking care of this for future races, no problem. All right, so let's see who we're watching. We are watching, well, there we go. We've got finishing already. We've got, no surprise there, Chris Dameron and Timothy Stoll finishing first in their classes. There's Timothy coming around to take the checker, as well as Chris. So there they are. Good wins to both of them. And Don Norris running backwards for his last lap. Evgeny coming in second in Corvettes.
Those two guys dominated this race. I believe they were first and second for the entire race. So good job for those guys to have such a strong showing at Mid-Ohio.
Marty Jeffries coming in third for Corvettes. Jerry Morsdorf celebrating a little bit as he crosses the line. Although I believe he's probably a couple laps down, so that's why we don't see him on the tally court yet. And finally, in GT2, the 89 of Craig Hunter taking it home.
The newcomer getting a win in his first start, I believe.
Yeah. So well done, Craig. Well, let's quickly run through the point standings. Mark Payne gets elevated above David Serwa now, just barely though. John Kuzlin not too far behind, and Chris Dameron climbing up the charts. But from 5th down, it's all 40s and 50s. Timothy Stoll, 108 points in Corvettes. Gilles Moret, once again, trailing, but by a larger margin than before. Marty Jeffries with a good third there, coming up with 22 points down. Evgeny, he's got quite a ways to go despite the good finish here. James Cullen in GT2 with 98 points, followed by Todd Carver just 4 points down. Big gap to Wyatt Foster. I don't think we've seen him for a race or two, is that right?
I know he wasn't in this race. I can't remember if he was in our previous one, but yeah, that's even despite his strong showings. That you can see the at least the absence here has caused him to lose a fair amount on the leader. All
right, let's talk about the schedule. On January 16th, we'll be heading to Japan for Suzuka Grand Prix, and then after that, we'll be heading to upstate New York for the first of our races at Watkins Glen. Then Virginia on January 30th. After that, it gets interesting. I believe the Phillip Island race on February 2nd is where the LMPs are going to get their weight reclassification, so we'll have to see what happens there. Well, that does it for this race. I want to thank all of you for watching. Once again, thank you to iRacing, ISRA League, Z1 Simwheel, and everyone who's racing here. I'm Daniel Quaroni. Have a good night.
And I'm Anthony Munez. Thanks for watching with us tonight.